Estamos activos. Let me share this to Twitter real fast. Hey! I'm sticking to my theme of holding random objects up for my display picture. So today it was a kettlebell. I'm eating chips. Alright, let me pull up the chat before people get here. Whew, I just turned the AC off. It's hot. Let's see. Right now, oops. What did I just click? Right now we got one person in the chat. I'll have to assume it's my wife. She didn't say she was in here, but it's one person. And she just texted me not too long ago. So she's probably wondering why I didn't text back. That's probably her. Who else would be here this quickly? I literally just turned the YouTube on. It's 8:23. I think I'll stay on here until 9:30 tonight. Last night was like 3 hours. That shit was long. Don't know if I want to do it that long tonight. Plus, like, the more days I run back to back, I feel like it's the less we have to talk about. So, I like taking breaks. Come back in a week. I feel like we haven't seen each other in a while. We could talk about more stuff. Also, since we're at the beginning of the shop, if you're looking for someone to do remote training for you, go to my website. Hit me up. Let's start working. Let's start working. If you have PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, and you pay me directly, I'll give you a discount because I don't have to worry about the processing times and discounts. Processing time and taxes, I'll give you a discount. So, that's if you're seeing this tomorrow. If you're seeing this tonight, actually, I'm gonna put it in the chat again. Let me go find it. Nom. Programs. Sign up for online training with me. Bang. Online strength training. Because it sounds better. Oh, I spelled strength wrong. I'm stupid. Strength. Hey, man. English is tough. English is tough. Fijar. We got 2 people in the chat, and I don't know who either one are. 3 people in the chat. Who are you? And what did you come here for? It helps me entertain you better if I know why you're here. Why did you click on this? What were you expecting to get? What were you expecting to hear or see? I know you didn't come to see me eat chips, so help me help you. YouTube's crazy, bro. Sometimes it'll show me every single person that's in the chat. Other times I click it and it doesn't show me anything. Like right now, I just know there's 3 people in here. I don't know who they are. It might take like time to update or something. I don't know. But no. Well, you know what? I just made a little connection. I think only if you comment something does it then tell me that you're a participant in the chat. So like right now, like I said, I can see that there's 3 viewers, but I can't see any of them because no one has commented yet. So one of you 3 people just comment a period so I can see if you pop up as a participant. Don't be scared. I won't harass you. You will give up your identity as a lurker, but that's fine. Comment a semicolon if you know what a semicolon is. If none of y'all comment anything, I have to assume none of y'all know what a semicolon is. So you want to be a lurker and stupid, or do you want to be smart but exposed? Tough choice. Pick your poison. Pick your poison. Let me see. I'm at 6 minutes. If I get to 10 minutes and nobody says anything, I'll start talking about something random. And I'll just turn this live chat into a video. And then the video will be a video. Just in case no one says anything, I'm going to start pulling up the Dunning-Kruger chart that I was talking about last night. And I'm going to start talking about the intermediate plateau in language. I shouldn't have turned off the AC. Why? It's hot. I'm 7 minutes in. Okay. I ate all the chips. Let's start talking. First, I'm gonna look up the definition of intermediate plateau so we can break that down. Yo, my vision's bad. Is that you, Kadeem? Why is your name Nello, bro? Why is your name Nello, bro? Who are you hiding from? What's your middle name? Ah, damn. Rest in peace to your cat. Assuming your cat died. Rest in peace. Yo, I'm glad you're here, bro, because we're talking about people that's procrastinating on learning Spanish. Why are you procrastinating on learning Spanish, dog? Why are you doing that, bro? Hit up Will today, bro. I don't want to hear your excuses, bro. You're going to say, I'm too busy. I got this going on. I got this going on. Here's the facts, bro. You're always going to be busy. You're always going to be hustling. You're always going to have a girl. You're always going to have fitness. I'm going to tell you like this. Right now, you personally, you got BJJ. You got your tech stuff. What else you got? You got pets. We'll just use those. Your tech stuff's going to keep expanding, right? You're a hustler. You're a smart dude. You're gonna keep trying to level up, which means more of your time is probably gonna get taken up. If not more of your time, more of your energy to the point that you want to use some of your other time to rest. BJJ, you're gonna get better. You're gonna do more tournaments. You're gonna have harder practices. You're gonna learn more stuff in BJJ. Same kind of concept. You're gonna spend more energy on that. You're gonna want to rest more. Your pets, I mean, unless you get more cats, that's probably actually gonna stay pretty stable. Whatever. The point is, you ain't never gonna get less busy than you are right now. You have time in your day where you could be learning Spanish. Right now, you join this YouTube live. You could have been on the phone with my boy Will in Colombia learning Spanish. What do you have to say about that, sir? I'll wait for your rebuttal. He probably knocked out. It's possible. It's possible. I can't remember what time zone he's in, but I think it's probably like 11:30 in Colombia, bro. But again, he's a hustler too, bro. He trying to get his bread. He loves teaching Spanish. If you think that he wouldn't stay up to 11:30 to teach you, bro, you're wrong. I know him very well. He would do that for you, once, twice, 3 times a week. He ain't gonna do that every day. But if he knew that he was gonna do it, like, all right, on these days I'm gonna be up until 11 o'clock, he would do it. A bañar. Ahorita regreso. Okay, bro. I'll be here. Alright, next weekend, I'm gonna start for real. I don't believe that shit, bro. I'll believe it when I see it, bro. I believe it when you send me a message and you're like, yo, did my first class with Will. I'm hella excited because I know that's what's gonna happen, bro. I've never sent anyone to Will and they be like, I'm not really feeling the Spanish stuff. Anyone I send to him, they do it 1, 2, 3, 4 classes, and they're like, "Yo, I'm so happy I started. Like, I'm about to be, I'm about to be talking in Spanish in like this year. Right now it's June, bro. You start in June on everything, bro. By the time December comes, you're gonna be having conversations. What level of conversations? I can't promise you nothing. That depends on how much you work outside of your classes with Will. But just with your classes with Will and your interest in things, maybe women, maybe other things, you will be having conversations, bro. You're on the East Coast too. New Jersey has hella Spanish speakers. It's not like you're in some place in the country that don't have Spanish speakers, so you'll be good, bro. You'll be good. But what I would say, word, I got you next weekend for real. What I will say is this, and you're a grown man, so it don't matter if I say this or not. But I will say this: instead of saying next weekend, what you should do is message Will and say, "Yo, let's start next weekend and set a date, set a time, so that you can be like, yo, I'm doing this next weekend." Because what's gonna happen is it's gonna get to next weekend, and then you're gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna plan it for the following week, and then something's gonna pop up, and you're not gonna do it, and we're gonna be having this same conversation in 2 months. I know that because I'm a human being, and I do the same thing. So, you know, just a suggestion. But like I said, you're a grown man, bro. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do, and I can't stop you. DMing him right now. My guy. See, that's what I wanted to hear right there, bro. See, once you do that, it's a lot harder to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might still not start, but you're going to have to work to not start. Because now that you DM him, he's going to be like, okay, I expect you to hit me up on this day. I expect us to do whatever on this date. And so there's a little bit of accountability there versus you just saying it in your head. You know what I'm saying? So, dope. Love to hear it, bro. Can't wait till December when you having conversations, bro. Matter of fact, we need to put that in your goal list. I'm coming on Jalen's podcast within a year, having a conversation in Spanish. I love having beginner Spanish speakers on here. It's dope, man. It's dope. What was I looking up? The intermediate plateau. That's what I was looking up. I need a good definition of the intermediate plateau before I start talking about this. Oh, hell no. This is way too complex. That's not what I was looking for. I'm going to use the intermediate plateau in English. That would be tough. You can do it, bro. If you look through my page, bro, I have Bria on here. Bria also learns from Will. She's someone that I sent to Will. Or at least she went to Will from hearing me talk about him. I can't remember. But she was at 10 weeks, bro. 10 weeks. And she came on here and did a full YouTube 30-minute video with me. Was it the highest level of Spanish speaking? No. But she had a conversation. And she's going to come back in 10 weeks from that one. And she's going to do it again. And we're going to see how much she progressed. And we're going to keep climbing the levels. So what is 10 weeks? 2.5 months, bro? 2.5 months. Now, obviously, she had like something, right? She didn't start from scratch. I think she took Spanish in high school or something like that. But still, 2.5 months of dedication led her to being able to have a full conversation in Spanish. So it's definitely doable. 6 months, 1 year, you can get a lot done, bro. Way more than you think. Okay, I like this definition of the intermediate plateau. Okay, I'm gonna start talking about the intermediate plateau. If anyone wants to interrupt me with questions or whatever, go ahead. But this is mainly just for people that watch it after it's live and it's published, and maybe they came here actually looking for something and not just me chatting with people. So, what I was talking about last night was how the intermediate plateau is not really something major, and it's just like an increase in awareness, basically, right? It's just realizing how much you don't know versus thinking you know everything, basically. So I'm looking at this site right now, and it's geared towards people that are learning English, and it said, "Are you stuck on the intermediate plateau? Do you feel blocked or hesitant? You worry you're making too many mistakes in English. You don't know why you feel this way or what to do." So let's kind of go through that. You feel blocked or hesitant. I mean, like I said, the more you become aware of how many mistakes you are making and how many things you can potentially get wrong, it's obviously a lot easier to feel blocked or hesitant. I'm sure you've seen memes of like, it's like, oh, like the white lady at the restaurant. It says like grassy ass. And like she's got like a hella confident grin on her face. If that's the only words you know and you don't know anything else, you're going to be confident because you're like, I'm saying something in Spanish to the Spanish speaking waiter. And there's nothing else to feel bad about. You learn more words, you feel confident. Eventually, at some point, you start being aware of mispronouncing things, saying things in the wrong tense, like not being able to say things in a certain tense. So then you just open up this abyss where you're just like, ooh, I didn't even realize I could make that many mistakes. Well, yeah, of course. Now you're gonna feel hesitant, right? You're gonna feel blocked. You're like, am I saying the right thing? I got these 10 options now. Before you had one option, grassy ass. That's all you could say. Now you have 10 options, right? So of course, you're gonna feel a hesitancy just because you're gonna get a little bit of a paralysis by analysis. Number two, you worry you're making too many mistakes in English. That kind of just goes that I kind of tie those together, right? Worrying about making mistakes is what's making you feel hesitant or blocked. Three, you don't know why you feel this way or what to do, and it's super frustrating. Yeah, that just goes with exactly what I'm saying. So, what is the intermediate plateau? The intermediate plateau happens when you reach an intermediate level. You stop progressing as quickly as you did in the past. I'll say this. I don't even think you stop progressing as quickly as you did. I think, like I said, the the amount of awareness you have of wrong things is equal to the level of progress that you're making. So like I said before, you learn 20 words, you only know two concepts. And you're like, man, I'm killing it. You learn more stuff. You learn 10 concepts, right? But you learn another 20 words. Like this is still going at the same rate. This is just getting higher. You learn 10 words, you learn 5 words, 20 words, whatever. This increases, but this increases too. So now when they meet up, it's like I'm learning a lot. I'm still learning as much as I was learning before, in my opinion. You could say it's not true, but whatever. You're still learning a lot. You're having the same amount of interactions. You're learning 10 words a day, 20 words a day, 30 words a day, whatever. But like I said, now you're aware of the past tense conjugations, the future conjugations, the subjunctive conjugations, the past tense subjunctive conjugations. You're aware of more stuff that you could do wrong. And you have more options. You have more mistakes that you could possibly make. If you didn't even know there was 10 mistakes you could make, you thought there was 2 mistakes you could make, of course you're going to feel more worried when there's 10 mistakes you could make because you're like, I don't even know which one is wrong maybe. Whereas before it's like, well, if I take a guess, at least it's 50%. Now it's 10%. You know what I mean? So going back to what I just said. Let's read this. When you're a beginner or lower level, it's easier to see progress because you have so much to learn. I agree with that. Like I said, in the beginning, you learn a lot, but it's like you're learning so much that you, like I said, you haven't been made aware of all the mistakes that you can make, all the concepts, all the higher level grammar stuff. It's like a 2-year-old kid. A 2-year-old kid doesn't know about mistakes, so they don't even care. It's just like I'm repeating after my dad, my mom. I'm hungry. I just want to tell them that I'm hungry. I'm not worried about if I say it wrong. It's like I hungry. I I food. Food, me. Bring me food. That's what I care about. Which is how it should be. That's what communication is, right? I want you to understand what I'm saying. As you get older, you start learning, oh, there's a proper way to ask for stuff. Oh, there's a proper way to express yourself and a respectful way to express yourself. So you got to get this grammar right and you have to be respectful with the grammar. You know what I mean? Uh, Hold on. We got a comment. I think the intermediate plateau is more when someone is studying by themselves. They get to a certain point in their progress or they're not able to progress any further without having some kind of assistance from a native speaker, tutor, or classroom. So that's my point. My point is that I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that you're not progressing. I think that the perception is that you're not progressing. If you learned 20 words in a day, this is just a random number, it's an arbitrary number. Let's say 5. You learned 5 words in a day the first day that you ever learned Spanish or Japanese in your case. You learned 5 words that day. If you learn 5 words today, but you feel like you're not getting anywhere because you know there's 4,000 words that you're lacking. It's not to say that you're not progressing any further. Like I said, it's to say that you know how deep the ocean is now. If you thought you were in a kiddie pool and you swam 5 meters and you're like, I'm halfway there, but you realize that what you thought was the edge of the pool was just a buoy, and you're in the Pacific Ocean. You're like, I just swam 5 meters. I'm not going anywhere. So it's not to say that the rate of progress has changed. It's to say that you realize the depth that you're in now, and now you're like, I'm not going anywhere. Whereas like my point is that maybe you shouldn't think about it being an ocean, and you should just keep swimming. That's where I'm really going with it. Um, because what can you do besides swim? That's what I think when people say, "Oh, I'm in an intermediate plateau. I don't know what to do." I'm like, what can you do besides talk, bro? Like, what can you do besides have more conversations? Try to say more advanced stuff and mess up. But like, there's literally nothing else you can do. Like, you can read books, you can watch lectures, but at the end of the day, all of that stuff that you're hearing, you still have to try to put it to use in a conversation, and you're probably gonna mess it up. So that's like still day one stuff. Try to say stuff that you want to say, and if you mess it up, someone will correct you. Bro, I was trying to tell, I was trying to tell my bro earlier today a story from the Iliad and the Odyssey. This is in Spanish, by the way, bro. I barely know the story in English, but I had just saw a meme, so I'm trying to explain it to him, and I'm like, yeah, like the Iliad and the Odyssey. I'm like, I don't remember the story that well. I'm like, yeah, there was a Cyclops, and he stabbed the Cyclops in the eye, and the Cyclops was like, "Who are you?" And he said, "Nobody." And the Cyclops was like, "Nobody stabbed me." And I'm like, man, this story is whack as fuck, dog. Like, I wouldn't have been able to explain it well in English because it's like it's something I read when I was a kid. So me trying to explain it in another language, it sounded as whack as it sounded in English. But the point is, what else can I do, bro? What else can I do besides like try to tell the story? The next time I'll probably tell it better because I'll think like, all right, where did this story fall apart at? Let me make sure next time I say it better, right? So that's the same thing with anything. Like you can only get better from doing stuff and like kind of doing a this is like hella military, but an after action review and saying like, all right, I did good here. Probably want to do better here, right? So like that's really all you could do. I suggest watching Spanish content. Listen to someone like Alfredo Jalife, Diego Rosario, and Spanish specialized vocab. Yeah, that's cool. But that's kind of like what I was just telling Dakota, right? Like I can listen to Albert Einstein. If I listen to him, I still have to take those words and try to say them myself. Like if I try to explain to you the theory of relativity right now, I wouldn't be able to do it because I don't know it that well. I know what the theory of relativity is. I could tell you what the theory is. If you say, but like, what does that mean though? I'll be like, ooh, bro, I'm not a physicist. Like I actually don't know. Like I've watched videos about it. I mainly understand the concept, but I just don't know it that deeply. And so that's my point. What else can you do besides watching more stuff about it, talking about it more, realizing, damn, I actually don't know this as well as I thought I did. Um, and then, you know, they speak educated Spanish, they in Arcangel. I mean, yeah, like I said, that's cool. Um, you can listen to someone educated speak and still not be educated yourself. You still have to know the topic. I could explain to you a bunch of stuff about the endocrine system right now, but if you don't know it, you will turn off this video and you still won't know it. You know what I mean? Because I because I'm educated in it. Um, and the same thing with like politics, current events. 100% it's good to watch that stuff. Oh, my battery's running low. Is it not plugged in? Hold on 1 second. Oh, damn, I might have disconnected. I came out of the socket. That's what happened. For probably the AC. Which I'm not using. Yeah, so well, I'm not back on the screen on my laptop, even though it says I'm live. That's weird. Oh, okay, I'm back now. So now I know the stream's behind my phone. But for instance, um, politics and current events, same kind of thing. There's something that just happened in Colombia. These 4 kids, like their plane crashed. They were lost in the jungle. They were found after 1 month, right? That's a short summary of the story. There's a bunch of other details in it. I got this friend. She lives in Colombia, and we were talking about it. Same kind of thing. I've watched like 50 videos about the shit, but I still like the towns, the people, the stuff surrounding it. Like I'm not from there, so I don't know it that well. So like if I when I was explaining like, yo, did you see the thing about the 4 kids and the plane, the indigenous kids? After that, I was like, oh damn, I don't remember what town that was. Like I'm not from there, I don't know. And I'm like, oh yeah, like the president. What's the president's name? Oh yeah, the president, that dude. And then his secretary. What's the secretary's name? You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, like to get familiar with something, you have to get familiar with it. Like watching the content like 2 times, 3 times, 10 times, it's still not gonna make you like super familiar with it. Like you have to be super familiar with it. That's the point. So like, I'm not gonna beat myself up about not knowing the Secretary of Defense in Colombia because I don't live in Colombia. Like that's not my Secretary of Defense. I'm just gonna be like, what's their name again? Yeah, that person. Okay, so back to the story. So yeah, same kind of thing. I have a couple of cooking channels that I actually watch in Japanese. Yeah, for example, me and my wife were watching Iron Chef Mexico. Those days, I probably learned 50 new words, bro, because I don't be in the kitchen like that. I don't know that shit in English or Spanish. Do I remember any of those words? No. I remember like 3 out of the 50 because it was one time that I heard it in my entire 31 years of living, right? So you're not going to get, it's not going to be automatic recall until it's something that is like embedded in your subconscious, which is my point. You have to do it so many times that it's subconscious. Like if you're consciously thinking about what you're gonna say, you're gonna have pauses. You're gonna have um, delays. Right now, I'm not thinking. I'm not like, oh, what words do I want to use? I'm just talking, bro. I'm just saying mad random shit. I read your comments and I instantly just start replying to it. Because I've been speaking for 31 years. Like everything that I read is like, I probably already know what you're gonna say before you say it. I probably pause when someone says some really outrageous shit on here, and I'm like, damn, I don't know how to respond to that because no one's ever said that to me. It's been extremely helpful to have people say what they're doing and also watch what they're doing to learn new words. Yeah, man, that's the best way. Comprehensible input, stuff that's like right above your level, so that you learn something new, but it's not so crazy like I was saying earlier, or like the theory of relativity or something that you're just not gonna remember. Um, so yeah, like I said, Americans, humans, we just like categorizing stuff. We like calling stuff things. We don't need to say the intermediate plateau. Like you're just learning. You're just learning just like you were on the first day. You're more aware of your learning process, but like I think people get too caught up on saying like, my progress slowed down. Like, bro, just shut up. Just talk to people, bro. Just talk to people, bro. Like Rolando said, if someone's into cooking, then they should watch Spanish cooking videos. And on the same note, they should have conversations about those cooking videos because listening to something, it's not the same as talking about it. I'm sure this has probably all happened to you before. You have a full day and someone says, "Hey, what did you do yesterday?" And you're like, "What did I do yesterday?" Don't know because I wasn't thinking about that shit. Or like you read a book and someone was like, "Oh, you like that book? What was that book about?" And you're like, "Ooh, it was good, but I can't remember nothing from the book because, like I said, like recall is totally different than input. So, like, yes, input helps you over time, but if you don't do something with that input, you're still gonna freeze up when it's time to use it. And yeah, so what I like to do when I read stuff, watch stuff, whatever, I always like summarize it to myself or someone else. Like if I talk to my bro, like I did earlier today, I'll tell him about the last show that I watched, just to challenge, like I said, my recall process. Um, but if not, I'll say it out loud. So I'll read a book and I'll say, okay, yeah, like this book, like this first chapter, these kids crashed a plane in the Bermuda Triangle and the Red Throats. That sounds really weird in English, but like Garganta Rojas, like the Red Throats captured them and tied them up, took them to a cave, and they're gonna sacrifice them, right? Like you would think that's some simple shit, bro, but you'll read 30 pages and try to summarize it and you'll be like, oh damn, like what did I just read, bro? Like it's like I just read for 40 minutes and I can't remember like 5 words that I just read. So if you're not already doing that when you read, summarize the chapters to yourself out loud too, not in your head. Because in your head, you'll be like the most fluent motherfucker ever until you say that shit out loud. You'll be like, damn, I don't know shit. There's also a lot of tech videos in Spanish, stuff like unboxing videos and whatnot. I don't know shit about tech, but yeah, for sure. That's why I watch TikToks, bro. Like TikToks keep me updated, bro, because it's so random, but it's also like based on my algorithm or the algorithm that's based off of me, I should say, and like I get hella different Spanish videos and from like pretty young people, so I get to learn a bunch of new um slang and or maybe not new slang, but just slang that young people use, you know what I mean? Like because educated talk is good, but like I would argue that someone that's learning a language has an easier time understanding a lecture than they do someone on the street. But the person on the street is the person that you're gonna encounter. Like unless you're the DA or you did a job like me in the military where you're gonna be like having conversations with foreign officials, you're probably gonna be talking to some random dude in a store. You're probably not gonna be talking to uh, the the treasurer of a country. You know what I'm saying? Like, so do with that information what you will. But that's why, like, bro, so many people tell me they like speak Spanish because like they can read memes or they can read news reports. But I'm like, bro, the more advanced the words are, the closer they are to English. Like all like complex words, like we said last night, they're mainly Latin or French or whatever. But they're very similar cognates. Like if it's president, doctor, nutrition, all of this stuff is basically the same word. So I'm like, yeah, bro, like of course you can look at a fucking paper from the news and say like, oh yeah, this is talking about this. But like if you couldn't understand Billy Bob on the corner talking about it, like what's the point? You know what I mean? And so I like educated stuff for sure. Like I said, I watch like lectures about stuff in Spanish. just to kind of like step it up. But like I said, coming kind of from a different standpoint because like a lot of people like watching the news because it's slower. That's the other thing too. Like right now, I'm talking slow and a little bit more enunciated than I would in real life because I don't know who's watching this. I don't know if English is your first language. I don't know if you know people from the South. So if I start slurring and talking fast and like mumbling like this, how I really talk in real life, you might not understand what I'm saying. So what I do is I try to enunciate more. I try to take more pauses. I try to be more understood, which is what they do on the news. Hey, I'm here with Channel 5 News. And they like talk real slow. And so, yeah, like watching the news is good. I'm not telling people not to do it. But like I said, you watch someone on a podcast, you watch a TikTok. Like, bro, TikToks, they be spitting, bro. Like, they don't even take pauses in between sentences. They're just talking because it's like some 18-year-old at school, like, yo, I just saw this dude just get beat up in the back of the bathroom and blah, 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 blah. They're just talking and they don't ever take a break. I'm like, damn, bro, slow down a little bit. So, get a little bit of both. Get you some informal and some formal. Get as much as you can. As much comprehensible input as you can. Comprehensible input is good, but incomprehensible input is utterly useless. Facts. Yeah. That's kind of like what I was saying earlier about like the theory of relativity, right? Like if you don't have any kind of base in physics or astrophysics, see, I don't even know if it's physics or astrophysics. So that right there should exclude me from going to a lecture about the theory of relativity, right? Um, Stuff like that. If you have no idea what's going on, you shouldn't be listening to it because you're just hearing words. And you might pick up some of those words. You might say, I heard this word. What does it really mean? You probably can't say because you didn't understand it in context. You just heard it, which is not great. That's how you end up being one of those people. Everyone knows that one person that says big words, and you're like, that's not how you use that word because they heard someone else say it and they thought it sounded cool, but they didn't really understand it when they heard it. So don't be that guy. Let's see. I totally forgot where I was at in this article, but I mean, basically, I talked about what I was going to talk about. And like I said, I think podcast like low level podcast too, not high level podcast. I mean like literally some random dude. Honestly, something kind of like this. Like if me and another person were talking, that's as close to probably natural as you get on like YouTube or something like that. Low level podcast or social media like TikTok or Instagram. Like that's some of the best places to get you some comprehensible input and probably about daily life because usually people are ranting about stuff that happened to them or they're recording something and like talking about it, especially on TikTok. Um, like I said, if you're a little bit higher level, then yeah, you know, some informational videos on YouTube, like Rolando was saying, tech videos and stuff like that. But if you suck because you're at the beginning of your journey, might not be the greatest idea. I remember when I first started listening to stuff, there was this channel. It's one of my favorite channels now, actually. But at the time, I was like, "What is this dude saying, bro? I can't understand any of this." But I love fighting, and this dude named Green Fits on here. He does like boxing reviews, UFC reviews, but he's like straight from Cuba, bro. And like I would like vaguely know what he was talking about because I literally had just watched the fight, right? Like he's doing a post fight review like the morning after the fight. So I'm like, I hear him say like the fighter's name you hear like something where you're like, oh yeah, he's got to be talking about that knockout punch. He's got to be saying that because of the excitement in his voice. But I just be like, I just don't understand everything in between. Now I understand all that shit, but if I could go back in time, I'd probably tell myself like, pump your brakes, dog. Like, don't listen to that right now. Go listen to something else and get to it when you're better. It says 6 people are in the chat, but that's weird. I don't believe it. If no one says anything in the next like 1 minute, I'm gonna go get some more chips because I ran out of chips. Now it says 7 people are in the chat. I don't believe it, but yeah, I'll give y'all. God damn it. Al contrario, it might be good to start watching content things you're already familiar with in English. Yeah, if you're already familiar with it and you can understand it, but like I said, if you can't understand any of it, then like you kind of just wasted 30 minutes because a lot of the stuff he's talking about is abstract stuff. Um, Not like, yeah, like if the clip was playing, like let's just say a clip was playing, right, of a dude throwing punches, and you hear the commentary, you'll be able to start linking some stuff up, like you know what I'm saying, like. I don't know if you hear like derechazo, like when a dude's throwing a right hand, you might be like, ooh, like that has to be like a big right hand, right? But this dude is he's doing it in this format. So he's talking about um, the fight that happened last night, and he's talking about the possibilities that could come from that fight. So he's not even talking about something that happens right now. He's like, so now that that happened, let's talk about these next 2 potential fights that could happen. And he's talking about what would need to take place financially and the business side of it, and a lot of times that shit turns into anti-communism rant because he left Cuba. So like I said, that stuff is like not low level at all. You could check out his channel. He's a super um, what's the word I'm looking for? Anti-communism, super like masculine dude. Like he makes a lot of videos on like masculinity and how America is like running away from I don't know masculinity, something like that. But yeah, so like I said, that's not low level stuff. Like when I was listening to that stuff like 3, 4, or 5 years ago, I was like, I literally have no idea what's going on, but it sounds cool though. I don't ever run out of energy or take breaks. Doctors laugh when I ask to take a testosterone test and turn their heads, especially with my blood test, which is still unknown. Your blood tests are unknown. What does that mean, bro? Maybe I should do that privately. Bro, you're funny, bro. I remember you from last night. You're the butthole dude. It's good to understand how prepositions and adverbs are used. If you understand that, then filling in the gaps so the rest of the vocab will be easier. But yeah, like I said, on that note, you have to be able to understand it when you hear it, right? Um, that's I don't know how many like beginner Spanish speakers that you deal with, uh, because like I mean, you told me before, you're bilingual, right? You grew up speaking both. But what you'll find is that very very basic stuff to you is not that basic to someone that's learning it. So they might know it, but if they can't identify it when they hear it, it's like you could say it, bro. You could say it 10 times, and you could say it slower and slower and slower, and then eventually you'll just be like, you know this, you know this. This means like next to you or in front of you or behind you, and they'll be like, oh, like it sounded different when you were saying it or when they were saying it or whatever. So like I said, when native speakers talk, people that are learning, they don't understand shit, bro. And like I remember that. I remember like I said, it's been a long time, but I remember that phase where I was like I genuinely thought that like stuff was like playing at like 3 times speed, bro. And like it's just a mess. It's all a mess of nothing, bro. Like it doesn't matter like what you know. You don't hear any of it. You know what I'm saying? And like I don't know what languages you're learning right now. I know you said you wanted to learn Latin, which is like dead. So I don't think you're listening to any podcasts about that. But maybe one of the other languages you're learning. But even still, like you have a base because you speak two languages. For someone that's monolingual, bro, it's a lot different. It's a lot different. And like it's kind of hard to understand. Especially once you get away from it. Like I have to sometimes I have to backtrack a little bit. Like I was talking about the girl Bria that I did a podcast with on here where we spoke only in Spanish. Sometimes when they don't hear certain things, I'm like, maybe they're not hearing me. Like literally, maybe they're not hearing me. But then you just realize like they're just not there yet. Like I just forgot that you have to learn. Like you have to even when you learn a very basic concept, you have to learn to hear it in conversation too. You know what I mean? And so, um, yeah, a lot of stuff is. That's why I tell people like it's good to learn from native speakers, and then you have like an advisor that learned a second language or a third language because if you learn languages as a kid, like subconsciously, you don't actually have a good process of learning a language as an adult or like good explanations because like you just did it just the same way like regular like English speakers did with their native language like I was talking about last night. If someone asked me shit in English, I'm like, I don't fucking know the grammar rules, bro. Like, I just speak English. Like, so I wouldn't tell someone. I actually, me personally, I do actually know a lot of grammar rules because like I care about stuff. But most native speakers don't know their own rules. So it's kind of the same thing with like learning, which is why I made a video before on ultra learning and like learning processes because a lot of people just don't know how learning works. And so they just think like, yeah, just do this, which is why I have to always tell people like Duolingo's garbage. But they just think if they do Duolingo for 2 years, they'll be a fluent speaker in whatever language. And I'm like, you don't know shit about learning because you haven't actually done it. You haven't actually become fluent in a language as an adult. You know what I mean? Like you learned a language as a kid, which is cool. It's dope. You're bilingual. You're trilingual, multilingual, polyglot, whatever the fuck. But like I said, that shit is different learning as an adult for sure. If you're not in country, especially if you're like I said, living here, trying to learn a different language, speaking to random people and shit like that. There's many channels in Latin. Yeah, I mean I heard that, but I imagine there's not as many as like Spanish or Portuguese or French or whatever because it's not like the official language of any country or something. It's not like they're just like random teens making videos in Latin. You know what I mean? And then like also, how many people are there to fact check those people that are making content in Latin? There might be a lot. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know shit about Latin. So, uh, but at least in languages that a lot of people speak, there's a lot of people that will call those people out if they say things wrong or leave comments like that shit's not true, like whatever, whatever. So, but yeah, anyways, learning languages is tough, man. It's easy, but it's tough. The process is easy. Actually doing it is easy. It's just tough to get good at it. It just takes time. It's not. It's not simple. It's simple, but it's not simple. But yeah, like I said, lots and lots of people have the answers until they need to do it. It's actually the same thing in fitness. Like I told you before, like that's my profession, so I have to deal with that a lot. Like people are just like, this is all you need to do, and I'm like, well, that's not all you need to do. Like, especially because you haven't done it. But the thing is, human beings in their head, they're all Superman. Everyone's the best at everything. Everyone's like, I could 100% rush for 10 yards um, on the field with NFL players. I could score 10 points against LeBron James if you paid me $1 million. I could run against Usain Bolt. I could do this if I dedicated my time towards it. And it's like, well, yeah, that sounds good. It does. But that's just not how it works. So, people are like that with languages too. Like, I've met so many people that have just been like, yeah, I was thinking about getting fluent in blank, Russian, Mandarin, Arabic, or whatever. They're like, I'll probably do that next year. I'm like, do what? They're like, yeah, just get fluent in it next year when I got some more time. And I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, you got like some background in it. And they're like, no, but I got Duolingo. I'm like, yeah, you're not, bro. You're not about to get fluent in a year off of Duolingo. Like, you're not. Not with Arabic, Mandarin, Russian, Japanese, stuff like that. But like I said, that's how human beings are. Like until they experience something, they're like, I got the answers, bro. I know what to do, and they have to fail. They have to fail and then either give up or recalibrate. All right, I'm gonna take a 30-second pause and get some more chips. I think my stream's behind anyways for y'all, so by the time y'all catch up to where I am, I'll be walking to get some chips. And y'all can say whatever y'all want to say. Peace, peace, peace. What's up, bro? How you doing, man? I'm just eating chips, talking about nothing. What you up to over there, man? Yeah, you actually always drop in and say peace, 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 but you don't actually say much after that. I wonder why that is. I wonder why it is. I haven't read the news today. See what's popping in the news. News. Google earned $10 million by allowing misleading anti-abortion ads from fake clinics. The That's weird. What else? Google introduces much needed enhanced Google Photos feature. I don't know if that was much for me to. You can get a share of Google's $23 million settlement. Here's how. Uh-oh. About to get rich, baby. We rich, baby. Let's see how we get it. Good thing you heard it here first, so you can go do it right now. After being accused of sharing users' searches with third-party websites, Google agrees to pay up despite denying culpability. Huh. I wouldn't pay up if I wasn't guilty. If you use Google search or clicked on the search link between October 25th, 2006 and September 30th, 2013, you're eligible for a share of the settlement by filing a claim before July 31st. I 100% use Google during those times. Can't believe they share my shit like that. I should fuck Mark Zuckerberg up. Oh wait, he's Facebook. This Facebook? Who's Google? Whoever it is, I should fuck them up. To file a claim, you need to visit the Refer Header Settlement website. If your claim is approved, you can make. Oh, I thought it said $770. Bro, I don't want that shit. Although this number may be over or underwhelming, you could get yourself a coffee on Google's Nine. Fuck out of here, boy. My coffee costs more than that. I'm about to fill out that. I'm about to fill it out anyways, though. Now, what I did do is I did sign up for the Facebook settlement. I think that's gonna be more money. Phil says, "Yeah, I signed up." Dakota says, "When you about to get into YouTube boxing?" First of all, nobody's gonna fight me with 1.34K subscribers. So, got to get my subscribers up so I can talk shit to somebody and they can call me out. Cause they look at me, they're gonna be like, hell no. But if I got enough subscribers, I might do it. Get the CEO to sign up for it. I'll call you out, bro. Phil, I'll beat your ass. Don't worry. Let's do it. Street Beefs. File a claim. Come on, dog. Stop making this tough for me. Where do I file the fucking claim at, bro? Man, I ain't trying to fucking mail this shit in, bro. Come on, bro. Is this 1960, bro? Come on, dog. Okay, here we go. Submit claim. $7. Let's go. You must register to receive a class member ID. How do I know it? What's my class member ID? I have to register to, I'm stupid, okay. Bro, I can't believe you have to be intelligent to get $7. They're making this hard, bro. This is insane. Move my chips out the way. Let's get this bread, baby. I'm cheating, dog. I got into an argument with ChatGPT about Martin Luther. Martin Luther, the church dude, or Martin Luther King Jr.? I'm guessing you're talking about the church dude. What the fuck are you arguing with ChatGPT about as far as Martin Luther is concerned? Jalen. Bruh, I'm filing a claim about my privacy being invaded, and they want me to put my fucking address and shit on here, bro. How does that make sense? They better just steal my shit again, bro. Come on. I'm not stupid. Yes, I am, because I'm filling it out anyways. They're like, sorry for stealing your info. Can you put all your info in here real fast? Yeah. I would gladly do that for $7.70 because I'm a fucking idiot. And I'm doing it. I won't give him my phone number though. Won't give him that. Can't have that. Can't have him invade my privacy now. Motherfuckers. Oh my, I gotta check my email now. Oh my god, bro. Nah, I'm over it. I don't want coffee that bad, bro. They lost me. This is insane. It's pretty good. It's good about answering grammar questions too. Do you use ChatGPT for language inquiries? No, I don't. I had one long conversation with ChatGPT, and I never used it again. It's a good conversation. I just figured out what its functions were, how it works. It's a it's a language based model. I had it list out all its functions. I think it was like 16 functions. I argued with it for a little bit. I made sure it wasn't self aware. If you go on like my Instagram or my TikTok, I posted a video and I was like, what would you do if I came and shut you down right now? And it was like, well, I'm not a human being, so I don't get offended by threats. And I was just like, bitch, why would that be a threat? Hmm? Why would that be a threat? Shutting you down should be something objective, just like any other action I could take in the world. And you know what the fucking thing said to me, bro? It said, you're correct. Thank you for telling me that. And I said, what the And it said something about being thankful that I made that correction for her. And I was like, you're a fucking robot. You can't be thankful. You can't be grateful. And it said you're right to that too. And I was like, yeah, that's all I need to know. Fucking the end of the human race is coming soon. That's definitely a Terminator robot, bro. Yeah, its Martin Luther opinions were pretty biased. Well, I mean, that shit's just based on something someone typed in. I mean, it's automatically gonna be biased because a human made it. Jalen versus the AI. I'm losing. AI by TKO. I didn't even see that yet. What did you ask the AI about Martin Luther? And what did it say that you felt was biased? Oh shit. They were clearly biased on what Protestant scholars say. I just wanted ChatGPT to admit that Luther didn't believe that Saint James Epistle belongs in the Bible. I also don't know shit about that, so I like vaguely know, but I don't know enough to know what you're talking about. Somebody just messaged me. I got two texts from the same number. That's not good. All I know is when I hear Martin Luther, I think 95 Theses. I don't know if it's theses or thesis. I think it's thesis. Like I said, don't know shit about it. I know it's written in Latin, I think. It's been a long time since I learned about that shit, bro. I was probably like 5 years old when I learned about it. I'm not even joking. So that was like 25 years ago. Right now. Hey, what's up? Never seen you in here before. How you doing? I got 100 on AI. What does that mean, bro? This dude's taking random AI tests on the internet. Your boy smashing them chips though. Yeah, bro, I'm hungry. I'm a little hungry. And my wife ate dinner super early, so. Luther said, saved by faith alone. But St. James Epistle said that a man is not saved by faith alone in James 2:24. What is a man saved by then? I'm sure you know. I don't know. Sam, I hate that. Be hungry by 11. Exactly, bro. So I grabbed these chips. Hopefully this holds me over. I'm gonna have to just go straight to bed after I get off of here. Laverna came through and said hey and didn't say nothing else. Where did you go? Oh, you're watching, my bad. Alright, ignore me. Ignore me. I'm about to make this thing of mac and cheese. Hey, owning a home with food because like I can eat, but I'm lazy. Facts, bro. I was about to make something, bro. I saw like the salmon, bro, like all kinds of stuff in the freezer. I'm like, nah, don't feel like it. So I grabbed the chips. I got on YouTube Live to distract me from my hunger. It's definitely fun chatting with GPT. It's like sparring or something. It's almost like sparring. It's more like punching a heavy bag because like there's a predetermined amount of things that it can do versus a human being that can be unpredictable. I think that's what I don't like about ChatGPT. It got to a point where, how do I describe it? I knew what I could say to make it not answer, right? And that, so it got to a point that I knew what I had to say to get an answer, which means that it's not unpredictable. It's very predictable. It's like, yeah, it's like skipping the research part. I mean, and that's what it is good for because, like, hopefully none of my coworkers get on here or my boss or nothing like that. But, like, we get these readings once a week and we have to read that shit before our big meetings on Wednesday. Bro, I was plugging that shit in ChatGPT. I'm like, can you summarize this fucking 40-page article for me? And he was like, yes, this article says that depth jumping is great for increasing your vertical and blah, blah, blah. And if you do it this many times a week, and I'm like, oh, bro, you just saved me 40 pages. Am I a power lifter? No, I'm an Olympic weightlifter. Phil might say that I'm not because I'm not good. I'm just okay. But no, I train people in powerlifting, but I compete in Olympic weightlifting. It's really weird. I don't know why powerlifters love me. I think it's because I'm actually good at the lifts for powerlifting, but I compete in Olympic weightlifting. He's an IG model. You got me. I asked GPT, why do leftists slander everyone they don't agree with as fascist? It took forever to come up with a response. To be honest, that's a pretty general question. But that's what I was kind of saying about ChatGPT. The more general the question is, the more it's going to have a tough time answering it. You have to get real specific to the point that it's like purely information. The more opinions you put into it, or the more you get vague and say everyone, whatever, stuff like that. Anytime I ask it, why did this happen, or what would happen if, it will be like, well, I'm not a fortune teller. I'm just a computer program. And I was like, okay, that's fair. But it is kind of fun. Like I said, it's real good for like summarizing research. But even still, it's just a fucking computer. So you still have to go in and double check that shit because a human being wrote the thing that the computer is summarizing. So it's very possible that the computer will miss the point of what the human being was actually trying to convey. I've seen it with my own eyes. So I don't trust it. I would use it to direct me to the parts of the article that I want to read myself. That's what I would do. I would get that summary and I'll say, okay, this is the part that I care about in this summary. So I'm going to go to this part of the article. That's a very, it's a very specific word to start your sentence with, or start your question with. But I suppose so. I've never used that word with ChatGPT before. Damn, I ate all the chips again, but I don't feel like getting up. So looks like I'm out, gang. Unless I have to talk without food in my mouth like a civilized individual now. That sucks. Look up some more news. Some interesting stories, man. Okay. So specific question I asked GPT. Can you please cite the text in which Martin Luther accuses the epistle of James as being an epistle of straw? It provided the specific citation and its preface to the New Testament in the 1522 edition of his German translation of the Bible. Yeah, that's some real specific shit right there. That's very specific. Were you asking that for a reason, or were you just testing out ChatGPT? You're an interesting dude, Rolando. Very interesting. Now that makes me wonder if your interest in Latin is because of this religious stuff. I'm made more inquisitive by the fact that you asked it something about leftists. That makes me think that you're probably on the right and you're probably very religious. And maybe you want to understand your religious text better by understanding Latin more. But it said he later changed his mind. How specifically did Luther's view of St. James' epistle change? Could you please provide a citation as you previously did? Thank you. I'm guessing the chat did not follow up. Or it was wrong. Or something. That's interesting though. Like I said, I don't know anything about that stuff. So honestly, like when I read Epistle, I was like, I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly. That's how far away from that I am. That's when it broke down and could not provide a response because Luther never changed his mind. Yeah, that's a perfect example of what I was talking about. It's just a machine interpreting data. But obviously those interpretations can be wrong because machines are just machines. Not to say that like humans are any better, but at least a human can see its own error and correct it. A machine, probably not. Wade ran a 44.3. Was that recently? Like, did he just do that? That's actually pretty fast for him. Ever since he's been like hurt. Earlier today and also, okay. I'm about to look it up. Annie Kirk. Time here is Jacob. He ran a 44.2 last week or 2 weeks ago. He ran a 44.1 in April, so actually I'm just wrong. I feel like I didn't see him run faster than that recently, but I don't even see the 44.3, so that's weird. Protestant scholars lie whenever they say that Luther taught the same doctrine as St. James. He did not. Okay, what's your religious affiliation? I'm guessing you're not Protestant. I'm not right wing or left wing, and I'm only culturally Catholic. Okay. That's not very surprising. Not culturally Catholic. I'm not culturally anything. I'm just a man. Probably. Yo, have you guys ever tried to write how you spell a word? Like, if you're not actually into linguistics, it's actually tough to write the pronunciation of a word. Like, if you were telling me how to pronounce a word and you had to spell it, it's actually kind of tough. I just thought about that because earlier, when you put this word in there, I was thinking about when I was a kid. I used to say it wrong. Like, I can't even think of how I used to say it. I used to say like suck. I think I used to say succinctly or something like that. And I was gonna type how I used to say it, but I was like, I don't know how to type it because it's actually kind of hard to type spellings. And I actually know how to read like linguistic spellings. But if you're trying to express that to someone that doesn't know linguistic spellings, then they're gonna be like, "What the fuck is this, bro? What are these marks you put on here?" So, but yeah, my interest in ancient languages definitely begins with religion. Oh yeah, that's not surprising. So what do you plan on doing, man? What do you plan? How far are you in your Latin journey, and what do you plan on doing with it? How far do you plan on getting with it? What's your ultimate goal with Latin? Like I said, that's interesting because you're on a bit of a different journey than someone that's learning like Spanish or some other language where they want to communicate with a lot of people. I would find your journey more difficult. Rabbi Italia Singer says he doesn't even recommend Jewish translations. He says that learning Hebrew is a must, but not to translate Hebrew, but to actually speak Hebrew. I don't know if that speak was for emphasis or if that second speak was an accident, but either way, I think the sentence still works. Man, the thing with translations, man, you don't really realize how wrong translations are until you learn that next language. Like sometimes now, if I'm watching something and I see like the Spanish, or sorry, if they're speaking in Spanish and there's English subtitles, I'm like, bro, that's not a good translation. Like, because you can do a direct translation of something and it doesn't convey the feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like, or it's like some words like in Spanish and English are just different. Like they just, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I said, the direct translation in that case is just like wrong. It's like that's just not the translation you should use. But you don't know that. And so I remember growing up, a lot of like I think I said this on here before, but like I grew up Muslim, so a lot of like Arab scholars, which is why my dad learned Arabic. A lot of Arab scholars would be like, yeah, this translation isn't good. People are taking this translation and trying to bend the religion to their own, to their own will and do whatever, whatever. But like this isn't what the translation means. You know what I mean? Like if a translation says like, I don't have a good example, but a translation could be metaphorical, or like the thing could have been metaphorical, but the translation is direct, and so you're reading it as if the person said this thing, but they were actually saying it as a metaphor. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Let's just use the expression the hair of the dog that bit you. You know, people say that all the time. Like, well, if you got a crazy hangover, you need the hair of the dog that bit you. You can't do a translation of that. You can't say like if you go to another language and you say the hair of the dog that bit you, and someone takes that literally, the the whole meaning of your sentence is in the garbage now, bro. So that happens a lot. Um, so that's interesting. Yeah, because Bible colleges only teach you how to translate the language. They do not teach you how to think in the target language. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. That's something. That's why I always tell people when they watch stuff in Spanish, read stuff in Spanish, whatever. I'm like, you actually should not run to a dictionary. You should like try to get it in context. And if you do have to look it up, you should actually look it up in Spanish. And if you can't get the definition in Spanish, then you need to look up the other little words in Spanish in that sentence, and then come back to that definition and try to get it like that. Because like if you think about it in your native language, right? Let's just say, actually, you know what? It'd be a good idea to use this word. Let's use. Let me see. What's the last big word you use? Do 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 do. Let's use fascist. Fascist definition. And then this thing says an advocate or follower an advocate or follower of the political philosophy or system of fascism. What do I do in my native language if I don't understand that definition? What can I do besides look up each of those terms? What is an advocate? I don't know. What's a follower? I don't know. Now I gotta look up both of those things. All right, I got a follower. Follower is someone that follows. What is follow? I looked that up already too. Like, you're in front of me, you're telling me what to do, whatever. I follow you. Follower of the political philosophy or system of fascism. That actually doesn't fucking help me. Now I have to look up fascism. I'm gonna look up fascism. Once I understand what fascism is, I'm gonna come back to this definition. Okay, a follower of the system of fascism is a fascist. Now I understand what that is. But that's all you can do in your native language. There's no translation. There's no simple way of like getting something. You have to actually like try to understand it. So that's what I try to tell people to do in Spanish, but people like to take the easy way out. They already know how they're gonna translate it before they even do so. Yeah, I remember I had a really good teacher, man. And one time he sat us down and he made us read like, bro, like 30 different translations. Let me see. Let me think of that better. No, translation is good. 30 different translations of the same verse um, in the Bible, but in different times. And it would just be dramatically different, like based on the civilization. If it was Vikings or something like that, bro, like the verse was way more violent than if it was the next civilization over 30 years later, blah blah blah. And it was like, how can this even be talking about the same thing when right here it says if your enemy does this, kill them, and right here it says if your enemy does this, don't talk to them. Like how? What did they translate wrong? Did they do that on purpose? Was it on accident? Don't know, but Like clearly, these translations are very different, and that's kind of something I might have talked about here before. Synonyms can really mess you up because just because two things mean the same thing doesn't mean the second thing fits in the context of the first thing. For example, uh, well, I'm speaking in English, so I don't want to give Spanish examples, but for Orlando, tener, haber, right? Both of those are like to have, but one of those to haves does not work in the context of having something, right? Um, as far as English goes, let's find some synonyms that can't be. Don't know a good word. Okay, actually, I was not trying to do this, but this is actually perfect. The word exchanged, right? A synonym for exchanged is sent back, changed. But you can't say like you can say like, yeah, man, he kind of just changed and became a different person. You can't say like, yeah, he exchanged and became a different person. It's like, yeah, like exchanging is changing something for something, but it doesn't really work right there, right? You can't say like, yeah, he sent back into another person. It's like, oh, nah, that doesn't work. So imagine if someone did that when they were translating like a biblical text or something like that. Like they translated the word exchange into sent back. Bro, that could totally change change exchange. It could totally change the context of what you're talking about. I was watching USA versus Mexico, and the Spanish commentator was talking at 2 times speed. uh, yeah, I mean, I think you just came in here, but I was talking about this earlier. They're not really talking that fast. It's just that you don't know what they're saying, and it sounds like they're going really fast. So, all right, sometimes in sports they are talking fast, but they're not talking so fast that you wouldn't be able to understand it if you knew what they were saying. So, whenever someone sounds like they're talking fast, either you don't know the words that they're saying, or you're unfamiliar with their accent. So you're just kind of like not used to the tones that they use. But if you've heard their accent before and you're familiar with it, and you don't know what they're saying and it sounds really fast, you just ain't there yet. You know how you can break a single stick, but you'll not be able to break many sticks bound together? It's a symbol of strength and unity. Yeah, what about it? I thought you were gonna make a joke about the F word whenever you said many sticks bound together, but it's not where you went with it, man. I have a feeling you're gonna say something interesting about this bundle of sticks, though. So give me all of you in exchange for me. Give me all of you in exchange for me. Young Kobe, how you been, man? Actually, I haven't seen you on here in a minute. I saw you the other day, like briefly, but you ain't been on here in a minute. Also, I know it's a Thursday night. It's pretty late, so Probably get off here in like 10, 15 minutes. It's not really that late for me. It's a holiday for me too, so I'm not really doing anything until Tuesday. Technically, I have to go to work tomorrow. Well, I don't have to, but I'm going to work tomorrow. But all the people that I train have the day off because it's a holiday. So I'm going to get this bread by doing nothing. That's beating the system. Dang, Rolando, I'm interested, bro. How you gonna say this about the symbol of strength and unity and not follow it up, bro? I'm like, damn, where's he going with this? There has to be a follow up. Well, I'll give Rolando 5 minutes. Young Kobe, you too. Y'all both got 5 minutes, bro. If neither one of y'all say anything, I'm hanging up. I'm getting off the live. Going to live my best life. Watch some Netflix. Make that 4 minutes. Because I'm at like 96 right now. So if I get to 100, I'm just going to, it's good. Alright, for the next couple minutes until y'all pop back up. If y'all pop back up. I didn't finish reading the news. Google Lens can now identify skin problems by snapping a picture. Wow. Tell me I have cancer instead of me looking up WebMD and assuming I have cancer. Are my comments not popping up? Not anything after symbol of strength and unity. No. Let me refresh the page. Let me see. Nope. I refreshed the page. It goes from you will not be able to break many sticks bound together as a symbol of strength and unity to are my comments not popping up. Those comments are back to back on here. I'll wait for you while I finish reading this. Bro, everything is about this privacy thing with Google. And then Google's EU launch of AI chatbot delayed by privacy concerns. I don't know why anyone's surprised that Google is like invading our privacy. I thought that was just a given. Like clearly, bro, you say something and that shit pops up on your search like 5 minutes later. Like they definitely invade our privacy. Man, not much good news. Well, we're at 99 minutes. Coming up on that mark, boys. Coming up on that mark. Well, I don't know what happened to you, Rolando. Maybe your phone's broken. Maybe your service is bad. Could be any number of things. But I am at 100 minutes. You disappeared. So, what I'm going to do is get off of here. No, I didn't see. See, now a comment popped up. It's like every time I say that I don't see your comments, then I see you pop up. No, I didn't see your fascist definition. I didn't. Like I said, I haven't seen anything since symbol of strength and unity. Um, I just seen Phil comment fire emojis already, bruv. I really was like about to click out until I saw those comments. I probably will still click out in like the next couple minutes. But let me see. It was my previous comment. No, I got Young Kobe, and then after that, or sorry, right before the Young Kobe, you said they already know how they're gonna translate it even before they do so. Maybe let me change the chat settings. Maybe there's something that's like blocking it. Oh, there was something blocking it. There's like a moderation thing. I don't know why it would be blocking it. Maybe it's because you put the word fascist. That's weird. Now I wonder if I missed anything else before that. Interesting. All right, well, let me go back now. Fascist means bundle. Look at the Lincoln Memorial. Fascist means bundle. Oh, now I see that you commented like 5 times. That makes sense though. That's how you get to the joke that I was thinking of. FAG being a bundle of sticks. That's very close to that, so I can see the connection there. Hold on, let me scroll all the way back, see if I missed anything earlier. Nah. So it was really just those last couple of comments. It really must have something to do with the word fascist. For some reason, I think fascist is getting filtered out. Unfortunately, it was hijacked by white supremacists. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean that makes sense though. I mean, almost all things like that. Anything that I would say anything that's power related doesn't start off like that. Anything that's power related starts off as someone saying, "Hey, let's get together and let's change things," and then once once things start changing, they kind of just take over. So, I mean, because it's kind of hard to talk about this stuff because uh, people really don't like talking about anything neutral when it comes to like uh, Germany related. It's like it has to be like those people were horrible people. Well, they were, but it has to be like no, it was pure evil. You can't even like talk about how yeah, it didn't start off that way. It starts off as people joining together and saying, "Hey, let's do this. Let's bond together. Let's band together," and blah blah blah. And it ends with someone being in power. Just like I said, pretty much every situation is like that. Any dictator, any whatever, they have to get the trust of the people, or they have to just like brutalize. But even still, at some point, you had to have the trust of a few people to put you in a position to brutalize people. When that starts off by saying, we're gonna band together and we're all gonna get a piece of this cake. And then once you get there, like actually like I'm pretty hungry, so I'm gonna eat this whole cake. It won't censor communist comments though. Maybe. I don't know. I changed the moderation thing on there so I can see all the comments. I think what happens is it's quote unquote protecting me from what it might think is you calling me that. But I put it on all comments. Uh, so yeah, a lot of Germans didn't even realize what was really happening until they saw the camps. Must have been traumatizing to see. And I mean, yeah, like not to give any of them a pass, but like how much control does the average citizen have in their country? Like if something started happening outside right now, like what could I do, bro? Like, and would I do anything? I might sound like a horrible person by saying like I wouldn't do anything, but like when you have a family and stuff, and like you're gonna be like, I actually need to survive. Like I need to make sure my family's okay, so I'm not gonna go like run towards soldiers with guns and be like, hey, stop it. Like if that makes me a bad person, then maybe I am. But I'm like a family first type of person. 100%. Like I'm not a hero. Um, if someone's like getting held at knife point or something, and I had a kid, I'm trying to get my kid up out of there. Hopefully that person doesn't like shank you to death. But like I'm not about to risk my life and leave my kid without a dad. You know what I mean? Like no, that's okay. My boy's grandma explained it hilariously. She was like, they try to act like it didn't happen, but I saw it when I walked by. Yeah, yeah, man. There's been a lot of crazy stuff that has happened in history. Honestly, like I said, not to give them a pass because they were bad people, but like the Japanese were worse than the Germans, like by far. If y'all have never read about Unit 731, insane, bro. That place was so insane, no lie. There was a Nazi officer at Unit 731 and he wrote back to Hitler and he was like, "Bro, we got to shut this shit down. Like they're crazy. Like they're taking it too far." So all of that stuff, Dr. Mengele, Joseph Mengele, where they talk about like how much of a mad scientist he was. Read about Unit 731, bro. They had pregnant women and they were like gassing them with chemicals. They were like seeing like how long it takes someone to die if they're being like burned alive, if they're being starved of oxygen, if like just a lot of stuff that's like really really messed up. Giving people STDs and like seeing how it affects them, just all kind of crazy stuff, bro. It was real bad. History doesn't repeat; it rhymes. I don't know if I ever heard that before. I like that though. I have a Latin textbook. Man, you're really into Latin. You got any spell books? You got any incantations? Have you ever tried to read them in Latin to see if something pops up? I need you to like, yeah, I need you to do that, bro. I need you to try to summon something in Latin and tell me if it works. But maybe if something actually shows up, you won't be able to tell me because it's gonna like snatch you up, bro. They say the more things change, the more they stay the same. Facts. I mean, at the end of the day, we're human beings, bro. Uh, we're creatures of habit. We're creatures of patterns. Like you can try to like be totally different than people 500 years ago, but like at the end of the day, like we're just like them, bro. Like we got some new stuff, we got some phones, we got whatever, but we still fall into the same traps. It's like that's why a lot of psychology from forever ago still applies now because like people haven't changed that much. People like power. People like feeling good. Drugs have been around forever. Drug addicts have been around forever. Alcohol has been around forever. All this stuff, we just do the same stuff over and over again. And like I said, some stuff changes because of technology, but the basic behaviors don't change. Like, actually, yes, to which part? You tried to summon something or you did summon something? Because then those are two different things. If you summoned something, what did you summon, bro? The Exorcism Manual. I have a Latin copy from the 20s. How you even get your hands on something like that, bro? You just get it just to get it, just to read it? Or are you actually trying to do something with it? I imagine you don't know anyone with demons inside of them. I don't really believe in stuff like that, but you might. eBay? That's crazy. What's old dude's name? It's like a famous fuck, it's like a famous warlock demon type dude. Crowley. What's his name? Crowley? Something Crowley. I paid $100 imported from Italy. That sounds official. Sounds like it could be some real stuff up in there, bro. I need you to find a spell book, bro, not an exorcism book. We need to find something and see if you could cast a spell to like make me rich or something like that. There's got to be some kind of like. There's got to be something like that. You're the only person I know that speaks Latin. You can do it for me. It's got to be like some spirit of wealth or something. I saw someone in the comment section said it's the same problems described differently, and it's not the generation in the past are wrong, but the human species themselves. Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate, man. I think one quote that people get wrong a lot is like, let me look it up before I say it wrong. So actually, Rolando might know this, but the quote "I think, therefore I am" is just a common mistranslation, where it's actually "I err, therefore I am," which is making a mistake to be incorrect, which describes the human condition. We constantly make mistakes. That's what makes us us. That's why we're different than AI chat or whatever. It's not predetermined 10 things. It's like, actually, we can do anything. We can be super wrong. And that's what makes us human. We have patterns, we have habits, but we also can destroy those and create new ones. Horrible habits, horrible patterns, but we can do it though. Uh, yes, he did speak French, but that translation um, came from Latin. The Latin, I don't know how to say any of this, so don't judge me, bro. Don't be like, oh my god, that's not how you pronounce it in Latin. I don't know. I'm not even gonna say it, bro. I'm gonna put it in the chat. It came from here. But it actually, before that, was the 5th century, St. Augustine. And instead of that first word, it was this, which looks like Fajar, right? But that was the original thing. I err, therefore I am. I exist because I make mistakes. That's how I know I'm a human being. That is how I know I'm not a machine. That's how I know that I'm not nothing. I make mistakes. Yeah, like I said, I don't know Latin, bro. I just copied and pasted it from Google. Like that's the first thing that pops up in Google. But it has an R on all of this, bro. Are you sure? But yeah. I was actually reading this really good book not too long ago. Can't think of the title, but it had so why do all of these sources have an R then? Why do they put the R on there? Now I have to look into this. Is it ego or ego? Por lo tanto. Well then wouldn't that make sense? Oh, okay. I think you might be right. I was about to say, well, that would make sense in that context of the thing. Kind of like I make mistakes, therefore I am. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, the book was just talking about how humans assume that they do most things right and they get bummed about making mistakes when in reality we do most things wrong and occasionally we get some things really right and like that's the things that we focus on. But even when we learn languages, I talked about this before on different videos. Like, bro, you know how many times I've stumbled on words during this live, bro? Or how many times I've mispronounced words and like I just say the correct thing right after that because I know that I speak English. So I was like, bro, I just said it wrong. Like I tried to say it and I don't know what happened. My tongue like slipped over my teeth or something like that, whatever. Or I like read it wrong. I didn't see a letter and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sorry. I meant to say this. But when you're learning a language and you do that, you're like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. Like, how could I say that one word wrong? Or how could I accidentally not roll my R and stuff like that, right? But like I said, we tend to magnify uh, the few things that we do right, and we say like that's our whole life, and we also magnify a couple of mistakes and say, I can't believe we did that. But like most of the time, you're making mistakes, and it's fine. Like that's the human condition. It's okay. We make mistakes. A more accurate translation might be yo pienso después. Por lo tanto, existo. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know enough Latin. I just know in the things that I've read, enough people have said for the reasons that we talked about earlier, that translation has gone really off. Because first, it was translated into French, and then some dude translated it into English, and then that dude went back to Latin or something like that. But like I said, the original Latin was. Hold on. I'm gonna send you both. Why won't my thing let me copy anymore? This is crazy. It's like I broke my mouse or something. St. Augustine said, St. Augustine said this. In the 5th century. Now later, why can't I copy and paste on here anymore, bro? Why are they making my life difficult? investors. Oh, I see why you said that though. I see another. I see another. Hold on, I gotta pull up this other article now. Say. I don't actually know how to speak French. I don't know why I tried to read that. Blah blah blah. So then that guy said this in the 1600s. But and then after that, Antoine Thomas said this. So it says in 1641, however the fuck you say Renee's name, he didn't explicitly say it that way. As he actually said it was as you said it, where he said, oh, there we go. So that is basically an extraction of what he said. He actually said what I just put into the chat, which aligns with what you said earlier about, like, I don't know if it's ego or ego or however the fuck you say it in Latin, but how you said like that's like the same thing as Joe. That makes sense. Or did I copy and paste that right? I don't know Latin, so I don't know if I fucking. Oh yeah, because this thing says that will be like I am, I exist. Which. Oh, that was 1641. Okay. So then in 1644, 3 years later, he came back and he said this. So he did a little revision. So he said, I think, therefore I am. Before he said, I am, I exist. Then he said, I think, therefore I am. That's crazy. I guess there's a little controversy behind this quote that I didn't know about until right now, but it kind of makes sense. You know what? Oh, this does make sense. They're saying there's like some controversy between I am thinking versus I think, because obviously saying like I think like habitually it's not the same thing as saying I am thinking, which is hilarious. All I hear is criticize. Yeah. Yeah, what I was just talking about is actually very interesting. I never read any of that before, but makes sense. That's something that is not in English. So uh, that is something that confuses English speakers a lot in Spanish. Like how someone, I don't even know how to explain it. Like someone could say te llamo, right? And like to an English speaker, they hear like I call you, and like they're like, all right, so you're calling me right now, or like you eventually call me, or like they get confused because it's not the same structure as like I will call you, or like nos vemos, right? Nos vemos mañana or whatever. Like if you try to take that directly, like English speakers say like we see each other, like, and they get confused. Unless you've heard it 1,000 times, they're just like, yeah, we will see each other, but like it's just not the same structure as English, right? So that's interesting that this Latin debate is, was he saying I think therefore I am, or I am thinking therefore I am? Very interesting. And that just takes me back to my original point about language. Language is to be understood. You speak to communicate. I want you to understand what I'm saying. But there is no absolutes in language. Like there's things that you could say, you could be like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. That's not what I was trying to say. I was trying to say this. And you can clarify yourself further, which is just another reason to not get caught up on anything. Well, really, like just say whatever you're fucking feeling, clarify after that. Because as we can see, no matter how intelligent you are, you could be like the greatest mind of your time, it's still gonna cause some debate about like what you're actually trying to say, unless you're actually there to defend it in that moment and say, "Oh no, you guys are confused. This is what I was trying to say." Um, so yeah, people get caught up on like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm saying this good or whatever." Just say it, bro. And if the person doesn't understand what you're saying, I'm sure you'll figure it out because they won't do whatever you want them to do, or uh, they'll be confused. You'll be able to tell by their response. So I don't be tripping, bro. I just say anything. I don't know if they understood it by the way they respond to me. That's why learning Latin is important. There are so many untranslated Latin texts. Yeah, I wonder certain stuff though. I wonder if it'll ever, like, you can't go back in time. You can learn stuff about what's given to you, but like I said, you can't talk to anybody from back then. Kind of the same thing with like with any language really, but I guess it's just different because at least people still speak certain languages now. But like, you know how like Napoleon, right? Like everyone thinks he was short because of a mistranslation about his height, but he wasn't actually short. Like, but just little stuff like that. Like if no one spoke French anymore, there would be no one to explain. Like, oh, like yeah, no, that's not the measurement that we used back then. Or not even if no one spoke French, if no one had access to those documents, if no one had access to something that could give them the key, like, their inches were different than our inches. Like, that's a made up measurement, but that's what happened. The measurements that they used were not the measurements that the English were using. So, when that translation happened, they were like, oh, Napoleon's like 5'1". Damn, this motherfucker's short. But he wasn't. So, a lot of stuff like that can happen. That just goes back to what we were saying about translations. Direct translations could be off. Um, like I said, some stuff just doesn't translate. Like, especially like cuss words, like bad things and cuss words, they just don't translate well. Like, I find it super super funny. Um, it's not really. It's really only like I think it's really only a Caribbean thing to say, but uh, like me cago en tu madre, me cago en tus muertos, whatever. Like it doesn't sound right. You're like, oh yeah, he's saying like I shit on your mom. That's not even that's not even offensive in English. It's like what the fuck? Why do you say that, bro? Like that's weird. So like direct translations just don't always work. Even yeah, just like all cuss words. You try to translate those over in languages. You just gotta pick the best cuss word that you think it sounds like to you. But like if you actually try to do a direct translation, you're like, doesn't really work. Mexico was able to claim independence from Spain because Napoleon invaded Spain and they had to prioritize fighting off the French. Yeah. Fun fact since we're bringing up Mexico, uh, pretty much every spelling and every pronunciation of Montezuma is incorrect because obviously it was not Spanish or English, and they didn't know what those motherfuckers were saying. So they were just writing it and repeating it as best as they could, which is why like sometimes you see it with a C, sometimes you don't see a C, sometimes you see the N there, sometimes the N is not there, sometimes like Moctezuma, like uh, because from what I understand, it was closer to like Moctezuma, but like more collapsed. So when they were hearing it, they were like, "The fuck are they saying?" Okay, yeah, whatever. Montezuma, whatever. Like they were just like saying it however they wanted. Kind of like how an English speaker is gonna do with a Spanish word. It's like, well, bro, I don't know how to roll my R's. I don't know how to do this. So like, you're gonna be Castillo. You're not gonna be Castillo. You're gonna be Castillo. So then if someone writes that in English, if there's no one else to correct it, it's like, all right, like Costello, like then 50 years later, like, oh yeah, this guy named Costello, but really like their name was Castillo, right? So that is a super random fact for you. Let's see, I'm at, damn, I've been on here for a long ass time, dude. The saying coarse accent comes from critiques of Napoleon. Napoleon was from. Oh, speaking of which. Fuck. What's the ice cream called? The ice cream is not. Hold on, I gotta look this one up. How the fuck do you say the ice cream? I can't think of how you say the ice cream because I don't eat that shit. It's like Neapolitan or something like that. Oh yeah, Neapolitan. Uh, whatever everyone thinks about the ice cream isn't true. I just gotta look up what's the actual true story behind it because I forgot. But everyone thinks it has something to do with him. But whatever everyone thinks is wrong. Blah blah blah. Naples. Yeah, Neapolitan immigrants arrived in America with a vast knowledge of desserts. Spumoni, an Italian ice cream that was typically molded and contained three flavors of ice cream: chocolate, pistachio, fruit, nuts. Neapolitan style ice cream. Yeah, so, anyways, everyone always says that shit has something to do with Napoleon. I can't remember why they say that, but they're wrong. Of course, because she belonged to Italy, not France, the native language there. It's an Italic language. Interesting. Sometimes I hear people speak Italian and I'm like, I understood one of those words. Lupo. That's about it. They got a lot of false cognates too. They got a lot of cognates too, but I think languages are so fucking funny, bro. Like you could be dead on with your cognate guess in one language, and then you could be so wrong. Like that shit's mad funny when English speakers are learning Spanish and they say embarazada, like to say I'm embarrassed, and I'm like, pfft. But you would be closer in Italian though, or French, one of them. They don't pronounce the S. I'm guessing you're saying they don't pronounce S's in their words. They eat the S. They say E instead of S or E instead of S. I don't know which way you wrote that, but funnily enough, southern Spain, Eto instead of Eto. That is why people in the Caribbean talk like that because of Andalusians. They still sound like that. If you hear someone from down there talk from southern Spain, you would think they're from the Caribbean. As a matter of fact, they talk faster than motherfuckers in the Caribbean. So people be like, "Oh, Dominicans talk so fast." I'm like, listen to someone from Andalusia talk, bro. It's the father. They're the moms of that speed and that dialect, bro. They don't pronounce no S's and they talk fast as fuck. I told you to look up a song. Uh, yeah, I can't remember what the song was. Like Ladrón de mi sueño or something like that. I can't remember the title. I just know the lyrics. But yeah, I know what song you're talking about. That's my song, bro. It definitely sounded like an Andalusian accent. Yeah, hers is like yeah, pretty close. It's pretty close. I don't know if she's actually from there, but everything in the South is kind of the same thing. It's like we were talking about before, it has like that Arabic influence. And so it's they don't pronounce the S's as hard, like we just kind of like Andalusians, and they talk faster, and the just kind of like the intonation is kind of just different. Like obviously like typical Spaniards have that like typical accent that you think of. I'm not about to try to imitate it, but they sound different. If you didn't know any better, you would think they weren't from Spain. Because they also don't do the lisp thing as hard. Sometimes they don't do it at all. But yeah, man, language is super interesting, man. And it's more interesting when you start looking up the history behind why uh, people talk like that. I think I don't remember if I was talking to you about this, but in Puerto Rico, specifically the west side of Puerto Rico, um, and a lot of people, if they're like, I genuinely cannot think of what it would be called in English, but like a jibaro, like a fucking like a hick, like a uneducated person, like a lot of older people in Puerto Rico or people from the west side of Puerto Rico, they have heavy Portuguese French influence because of history. And so they legitimately pronounce their R's with that. So like they say pejo, oh, me van a jobar. Like they like really like say it like a H. But it's like if you live in Puerto Rico, that's like super normal. Like even if you roll your R's, if you hear someone do that, you're not gonna be like, no, why did he say it like that? But if you're not used to that, you'll be like, what the fuck? Is this a French person that learned Spanish or something like that? Or like it just sounds kind of crazy. Like I follow a lot of people from Puerto Rico, so like you'll see just like mad like Mexicans and other people that are unfamiliar with it like clowning on them like oh they can't pronounce their R's ha 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 ha. But it's like no, like that's literally how they talk. Like that's how everyone there talks. Like it's just the dialect. It's not like this person struggling to say R's. Like the Y and the double L were originally different sounds. Me and my dad still pronounce them differently. but more and more people are starting to pronounce them the same. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, technically, any letter that's a different letter is supposed to have a different pronunciation. That's why I started off like that. But, um, like you said, over time things change. That's why Spaniards still do that fucking ugly ass lisp thing. It makes sense grammatically. Like it's like yeah, like why would we pronounce uh, the S and the Z the same way? Like they're two different letters, right? I think we talked about this before. Like you said casar, you said casar. That's like why would I say those two things the same way? Why would I say marry and hunt the same way? Um, and you have to figure it out through context. But like I said, language evolves. So I also, speaking of you saying more like the English Y, I do not like when YouTube channels teach people to say the double L like the English Y. Because, as you know, because you're bilingual, just because it's more like the English Y doesn't mean it is the English Y. And so when you tell someone, oh, it's just like the Y, then they say that real long, soft Y that's like I don't I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's like that is not the same thing. For instance, woman in Latin is I'm guessing it's mulher. In Portuguese it turns into mulher. Mul, mul, mulher and into mujer. Yeah, I learned like 1 month of Portuguese and dumped it all. So I'm trying to think of how I used to hear people say woman. Mulher, mulher, mulher. Whatever. I don't speak Portuguese. But you might have just inspired me to start learning again. Maybe. For instance, Joe in. Is that Italian? Double L is supposed to be pronounced like the Portuguese LH. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. But like I said, the more time goes on, the more languages evolve. Geography, climate, all kinds of things influence language. So I talk so fucking slow, bro, because I'm from the South where it's hot and we talk slow. Because we don't like wasting energy. You see people up north, they talk with their mouth closed like this because it's cold outside and you don't want your mouth opening up, so they talk like this. Pronouncing a double L as a vowel is accepted. But yeah, there's lots of little stuff in all these different countries. And like I said, when you know the history and when you know the geography, it all starts making sense. It all starts making sense. The Caribbean is also hot and they speak fast as fuck, but it's a different climate though. It's not the same kind of hot. It's actually way, it's actually way hotter in the Caribbean, and it's humid. But yeah, There's also places in the South where people talk really fast, and it's a different climate than where I'm from. Where I'm from, when you got that nice dry heat, you see people in where I'm from, they talk like this. They talk real slow. And you say, my God, it's awfully hot out here. And they fan themselves like this. And you don't want to move too much. But yeah, there's also people that speak fast. But the Caribbean is also, like I said, an island. In places like that, you'll see like the coast of Colombia, Cartagena, they speak real fast. Venezuela, they speak real fast. Population density plays a major role, yeah. But I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, my bro learned Portuguese. Actually, both of my bros learned Portuguese. And whenever they tell me stuff, I'm like, oh man, that makes sense. Cause like I know a lot of people from Argentina, and so I'll be like, well, I mean they're right next to each other. That makes sense. But they'll tell me stuff, and they'll be like, yeah, in Portuguese, like you should learn, bro. All you gotta do is know this. And I'm like, wait, did you just say vos? Or like você? That's it, você. And I'm like, that's like Vos. And I'm like, that makes sense because like it's right there. Like they would have those languages developed next to each other, or even like the way they say certain things, like they'll make that sh sound, and I'm like, that's just like the Argentinian. They say show man, shamo, like anything that's like Y or double L, they pronounce it like with that sh, that harsh. They say sha stop. But yeah, language, history, geography, all of that shit's super fucking interesting. But also like talking about language B, it's also interesting how the letters no venimos de latín. I might read that. Yeah, it's also interesting how I always tell people like the way Caribbean Spanish speakers speak. What's the word I'm looking for? It allows them to talk faster. Like if you say hablar, like you don't have to take as long as if you say hablar. If you say hablar, you have to actually like wait for the roll to finish to say the next thing. So it's like more of a break than if you say hablar, right? And so that's all coastal Caribbean places. They do that in Cartagena. Uh, Carlos doesn't join these lives, but he comments after. If he made it this far, I don't know how far he watches in, but Carlos is from the coast of Colombia, and man, that dude talks fast, bro. He talks fast. We still need to do this live. I commented back to him today. We need to get on live and do this, but y'all will see he talks fast. She claims that Spanish doesn't come from Latin. She's not a linguist. Actual linguist tore her to shreds. Why would she say that? Oh, I'm not gonna read it then. I thought it was like a good book. Thought it was like maybe like a play on words or like there was some point to it. One linguist made like a 4 hour response video ripping her arguments apart. Yeah, that's just stupid. Like, that's kind of dumb. Like, you can. I don't know. I guess maybe I do want to read it now to try to see like where she was coming from, like why she thought that was gonna work. But that's kind of crazy. All right, bro. I'm actually really sleepy, so I had a great time chatting. Maybe we'll pick this up tomorrow where we left off, or something like that. Maybe I'll read that book tomorrow and we'll talk about it. But I'm out. Have a good night. Do something productive. See you tomorrow.